Hey, this is Dr. C. Nice to see you all again. Hopefully you're doing well. We're having an exercise program today, believe it or not, but the exercise program is going to be on stretching. Now, I've done programs on stretching before, but this one is a little different take on it. What I'm going to do is describe to you stretching of individual muscles in your body. And then we'll put it all together with some of the yoga moves, and what you can do is to see a lot of the individual muscles that we discussed are being used in these yoga poses and all. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Now remember, stretching is very important at our age. Why? Because it gives you better mobility, better range of motion with your joints, all of which have some wear and tear, some arthritis, some whatever. So very, very important. And remember, there's two types of stretching. There's dynamic stretching, where you go out and in and out and in on a regular rotational basis like that. That's Pilates does a lot of that. Or you may have static stretching, where you just stretch it out, like Tai Chi, for example. You're stretching it out. So it's slow type static stretching. Okay. You can also, there is another type of stretch where, say the physical therapist would stretch something out, and then using his hands or her hands would stretch it just a little more. So that's passive and active stretching at the same time. Okay, so knowing that then, let's go through our body now with the various muscles and let's do some stretch. So we're going to start with the face. Why not? Why not with the face, right? So for this one part only with the face, I'm going to have to take my damn glasses off because I want you to be able to see every bit. So let's say we talk about that circular muscle around the eyes. Circular muscle around the eyes, and then circular muscle around the mouth. This one here is called orbiculus oris, the circular muscle around the eye. If you exercise it, you scrunch your eye down, you squeeze it down. And with the mouth, basically, you pucker up. That's exercising the mouth and the eye muscles. But we want to do the stretch, so you're going to do the opposite of that. And so instead of scrunching your eyes, you're going to open them nice and wide. 2, 3, 4, 5. And with the mouth, you're going to open it. Now, another way to stretch around the mouth is just to bring your lips over the teeth. Just like that. What about the cheeks? What about all of this area here? Well, there's two things you need to talk about. One is probably one of the strongest muscles in your body. It's called the masseter muscle, which runs in this direction. How do we stretch that? You need to have your two fingers onto the lower part of the jaw, pull it down, and looking up. So pulling down, up. That's stretching that masseter muscle. Now there's other ways to stretch the other muscles lying over that big muscle. And the simplest thing is just to puff up your cheeks. Another way of doing it is with your tongue. That tongue is an amazing organ. It really is. All sorts of muscles. That tongue can do a number of different things. And so in order to stretch it to do those things, and let me give you some examples. The tongue can go out and in, out, in, out, in. Then it can go side to side. It can go inside the mouth and outside. Then you can make a hot dog roll out of it. And then finally, it can go up and down. When it goes up, it hits the palate. And when it goes down, up, down, up, down. So all those different motions with the tongue. Okay, so let's go on from there. Let's talk about the neck now. Talk about the neck. How do you stretch that platysma muscle in the neck? Well, basically, you take your right arm around the head like that. Other arm goes down and stretch. And stretch two. We're just going to do three. Stretch three. And then we can get the other side. Hand on that side of the head. Other arm down. Stretch one. Two. And three. Now the other exercises for the head and neck, if you do them slowly, like touching chin to the chest, all the way back, you're stretching the muscles in the front, stretching the muscles in the back. Now what about the other muscles on the side? Well, we turn. Turn. Remember, this is how you warm up those head and neck muscles. But you're doing it a lot slower. And then the final one is just touching ear to shoulder. But you're doing it slowly. And you're stretching those muscles. Okay. What about the muscles now in the arms? Well, you're very familiar with using your weights or bands and lifting up, tightening that biceps. So first we're going to talk about the biceps muscle. How do you stretch it? Just the opposite to what you do to tighten it or strengthen it. In other words, over to the side and back. Now some people say you keep your palm facing forward and go back. Others say turn and go back. Personally, I don't give a darn. I don't give a hoot whether you do it palm facing forward or back, but stretching that biceps back. And don't forget, you got the other arm as well. Stretch it back. 1, 2, 3. Now what about the big muscle in the back? That's the triceps muscle. There are a couple of ways to stretch that. One, first we'll start with the right arm. Bring it to the back. Stretch it. We get a little help with the other arm. Stretch that triceps. 1. And relax. Stretch 2. And relax. Stretch 3. And relax. Now you got to do the other triceps. That arm comes up. That arm comes against the elbow. Stretch it back. 1. 2, 3. So that's biceps and triceps stretches. Now we're doing all these sitting down. You can do these in a standing position as well, but for now, we're just going to show you the sitting ones. Okay. What about that big muscle on the side? That's the deltoid muscle. Deltoid muscle. What we do when you have weights or whether you have a band and all, you tighten up the lateral portion of the deltoid. Lateral deltoid, up and down. But we want to stretch it. So how do we stretch it? Start with the right deltoid, lateral deltoid, over and push it. So you cross the arm in front, you stretch that deltoid out. That's 1, 2, 3. Now we got to do the other side. 1, 2, and 3. So the deltoid, though, has 3 different insertion points. Let me put my glasses back on so I can always check my cheat sheet, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, I do forget a few things at my age now, you know, but that happens. Okay, anterior deltoid. Got to come a little forward on the chair. Going to intertwine the fingers. Intertwine the fingers. Stretch it out. That's anterior deltoid. 1, 2, 3. Notice too, when you do this, you're also stretching that triceps as well, and the deltoid. What about the posterior part of the deltoid? You're going to intertwine your fingers in the back now and stretch them out. 1, 2, 3. And that is the deltoid muscle. That's on the side. How now can we stretch out some of the upper back muscles? Specifically the trapezius muscle, the latissimus muscle, and the serratus muscle. So we're going to deal with all 3, but each individually. So first we'll take the trapezius. The trapezius is a big, wide muscle. And so the upper, mid, and lower portions of that trapezius muscle have a little different function. And so we deal first with the upper part first. Okay, so arm goes down, side and back. That's stretching that trapezius muscle now. It's also stretching the pectoralis muscle. And so down and back. Down and back. Other side now. Down and back. Down and back. One more to do. Down and back. So that's the upper part of the trapezius. How do we get the mid part? Mid part. Remember prayer position? Thumbs touch the sternum, the chest bone in the front. And bring the elbows up. Go out, come in. Go out, come in. One more. Go out and come in. So that's stretching the mid portion of the trapezius muscle. Now what about the lower portion? The lower portion. Now basically with that, we do what we call a cat-dog. Now what does the cat-dog do? Well, first of all, the cat, chin to the chest, round your back. You're stretching that lower trapezius. And you're doing both sides at once, round your back. That's the cat portion. The dog portion, looking straight ahead, not up, looking straight ahead, pull it back in. And relax. Looking straight ahead. And relax. One more, looking straight ahead. And relax. Now in between your shoulder blades here, they're called rhomboid muscles. Rhomboids. They go in between the two shoulder blades. How do we stretch that? With a big hug. A big hug. And you can feel the stretch. You can feel it just by doing a hug. Okay. One more. I'd do more, but you'd accuse me of being a narcissist. Hey, I could run for president, right? Okay. There we go. So that's the stretch of the rhomboids. Another good stretch of the rhomboids, bring your arms out and bend it over. Oh, you really feel that in the back as well. So arms out, elbow over elbow, and bend it over. That stretches those rhomboids as well. And obviously, there's other muscles that get stretched with that as well. So, okay, let's talk now about the latissimus muscle. That's also a pretty wide muscle that's in the back, and you can see that one. You can see that one. The main stretch for that is what's called a child's pose. Now, what do we do with a child's pose? We reach out and a little wave, stretching that latissimus on the sides. 3, 4, 5, and back. Okay, so that is the latissimus. What do we do for the serratus muscle now? Now, the serratus muscle, you can basically, I think probably what we're going to do is we're going to twist our body for the serratus. I feel that's the easiest. You take one hand, grab hold of the side of the chair, and you're going to twist your body away from it. See, the serratus muscle attaches to the ribs, and when you twist, that stretches that serratus muscle. So you twist away from where you're holding. 3. Now you're going to do the other side. Hold on with that. Twist. Twist. And twist. So those are all of the major muscles in that side of the back. There's a big one on the side called the quadratus lumborum. Very simple. We do that exercise all the time. Right arm comes up and we go over, stretching that quadratus lumborum. Now obviously the quadratus on the other side is contracting, but you're stretching the one that the arm is over. Stretch the other one. Stretch it again. One more on this side now. Stretch it again. and back. Now there is another muscle called the oblique muscle. The oblique muscle is very deep, and so it's not as visible as the other muscles, but still, it's a muscle that's on the side attaching to the ribs and all. And so it is a muscle that you have to stretch periodically as well. Now, how do you exercise it? Well, if that leg came out and this arm came up, we exercise it like that. Well, those are like crunches, side crunches. How do you stretch it? Leg out and over. Now you're stretching it. Just the opposite. And back. Out and stretch. And back. One more to do. Out and stretch. And back. Now we're going to do the other side. Out and stretch. And back. Stretch. And back. Out and stretch. And back. Now what about the muscles that go up and down in the back? Well, we stretch those as part of our exercise warm-up anyway, by going first way up and then slowly down, stretching that back muscle. Going back up and back down. So that got our back muscle. Now what about the muscles now in the legs? First of all, the quads. Well, we usually exercise the quads with raising the leg because you're tightening that muscle. If you do it against a resistance, like if you had a band or something, that would help to strengthen it. You don't want that for stretching. Stretching does just the opposite, right? So we go to the side of the chair, bring that leg back. Now you're stretching that quad on that side. Now you may want to take a nice big deep breath in and out. Whenever you're stretching like that and you take a nice deep breath in, that improves that stretch just a little bit. And then, of course, you got to do the other side. So we move over to that side, bring that leg back, and big breath in and out. So that is the front part. The front part. Now, what do we do to stretch the adductors? The ones that bring the legs together like that, the knock-knee type of muscles on the inside. Well, to stretch them, you bring the leg out. Bring it out. Very simple. Bring it out. Bring it out. Other side, bring it out. 2, 3. And now, another way of doing it is simply crossing over the leg. Now you're getting the upper part up here, especially if you try to get that leg down by pushing on your knee or pulling up on the foot. Really stretching. You can feel that stretch. And same on the other side. And that really stretches the upper quad muscles and the iliopsoas muscle as well. That's up in the groin. They call that the groin muscle. Okay. What do you do now for those on the outside of the leg. We cross it over. So that will stretch that. Simple cross. Simple cross. That stretches that. How do we stretch the hamstrings? Get forward on your chair. Legs out straight as you can. And hands on the knees. Nice straight hamstring stretch. Okay, now let's go down to the ankle and the feet. Right foot first. If you want to stretch the calf muscle, you pull back. You flex the foot and you hold it. Big breath in. If you want to stretch the muscles in the front, you point. Hold it. Big breath in and out. Other leg. Flex. Feel that stretch in the calf muscle. Point. Feel the stretch in the front. And down. Now, that reminded me, I didn't do the arms. We did up here in the shoulders and all the muscles. We didn't do the arms. Out with the hands, stretch them. And stretch them. One more, stretch them. And then you can supinate. Pronate, supinate. Pronate, supinate. Now, I told you at the beginning that we were going to show you some of the yoga moves, and you try to figure out all the muscles that are used. Let's start out with the sun salutation. Palms are facing forward. Arms out as far as they can. Up as high as they can. Over to the sides, all the way down. Bring them in as you bend. And now hands go to the front of the shins and you look straight ahead. Back again. Over to the sides. All the way up. And prayer position. So there's a lot of muscles that we stretch with a simple sun salutation. Now we'll do a moon salutation. Legs are going out a bit. Palms again facing forward. They come up to an X. You're going to bring the right hand down to the right ankle. The left arm is straight in the air, far as you can reach. And you look up towards that hand. Back to that star position again. Left hand down to the left ankle. Right arm in the air. Look up towards that right arm. So those two, the sun and moon salutations. Now, a very, very good stretch. Arms are straight out. Right under left. Right grabs the left. And down. Now you really feel that stretch in both of the upper part of the back and in the shoulders. That's called an eagle, an eagle. So those are just examples of how good a lot of these yoga poses are for stretching. So this is Dr. C. I hope you learned a little bit about the individual muscles, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.